Hello and welcome to another episode of Budget Builder on Sorare TV. This episode, guys, I think is a really fun one. We're going for a Euro Rare Outfield team. The budget is 0.65. Safe to say we nail it right on budget on this one. So without a goalkeeper, so goalkeeper's up to your own discretion. If you're going to try and maybe get a DNP goalkeeper to play All-Star Rare after the August deadline hits and common goalkeepers are no longer eligible, or if you've already got a goalkeeper, or if you're already off on your merry way doing that kind of thing already. This is just a kind of rare outfield that I think, you know what, for the kind of price it's at, could get into the cards quite easily a couple of times over the season, has got great potential for some cap app on the trading side of things, or if it is just to be an ETH plugin team, that job should be there to be done for these guys at any point in the video today. If you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Sorare TV means a lot. I hope you enjoyed this one, and let's get stuck into it. Now, I wanted to build a proper, a team that I would play in, I would deploy into All-Star Rare if I was starting out today, and maybe, I've just got a couple of limited squads or I'm on a budget, and a team that I could build one card at a time over, the kind of trading strategy that I've had the whole time I've been on the channel, which has just been whenever I have been growing my channel, small meaningful purchases when I can make them, rather than just everything and anything immediately kind of idea. So with that in mind, I kind of hunted high and low across Europe for some of these situations that, some of them haven't actually ripened yet, so there's a few question marks we're going to be going through, but the upside is there, and the developments that have happened or are likely to happen are on the positive side. Okay, so we'll start off in defence. And my defender would be Manu Sanchez, who is a Spain under-21 international left-back, currently owned by Atletico Madrid. Spent last season out on loan at Osasuna. He's been back in at pre-season for Atleti, and it feels like he's maybe going to be sold, with Yannick Carrasco being the undoubted #1 left-sided player for Simeone, and with Ronaldo having the flexibility to play there also. He is surplus to requirements, it feels like, and with Atleti being so tightly strung now financially, the requirement for a right back is massive at the moment, and they're also trying to make moves against guys like Carlos Soler and one or two others. They do need to relieve their finances after extending Griezmann's loan. Manu Sanchez could very easily go back out on loan to a team like Osasuna or whatever and average the sort of scores he was getting. Now, Osasuna, for context, right, is probably one of the worst teams he could have been at last year. Last year, Osasuna finished 10th, which is okay, but they conceded 51 goals and only scored 37. To give you some context for that, two teams that got relegated scored 44 and 51 goals respectively, and their defence of conceding 51, was worse than 4 teams below them, so it wasn't exactly stellar. It was a bottom half defence and a bottom 5 attack. They're quite fortunate just with sequence of results, how their points have accumulated, I guess, to keep them as safe as they were. In reality, for finishing 10th, they were only 9 points away from relegation, which, when you consider their actual statistics that we've just said there, it's, they're very lucky to finish where they did. Manu Sanchez has been linked, but very prominently, to the likes of Brighton and Nottingham Forest. Now, whenever Brighton are linked with a player, especially right now, a Spanish left-sided player, why would Brighton want one of those? Oh yeah, that's right. The last one they bought, they're just selling to Man City, who they bought from Getafe, who were equally not as a fancied team, but equally Cucurella was from La Masia, was a Barcelona graduate. This is an Athletic graduate. He's, blah, blah, blah. A lot of parallels, a lot of similarities, and if he ends up at Graham Potter's Brighton, I would be very happy with that for the sort of price you're picking this guy up for. And you might think, oh, it's the Prem, it's Brighton, blah, 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 whatever, right? But for around €100 or so for his rare card, under 21 Spain international left back, Manu Sanchez, under 23 eligible until 2025, is limited as £9. I think he's fantastic bang for buck in a budget rare Euro team. In midfield, I'm going for Amin Harit. Now, with Igor Tudor coming into Marseille, I think the glimpses I've seen of this kid, I think he's going to suit Tudor's style to the T. You just need to look at the attacking scores where we're getting from guys like Barak and Caprari and Simeone at Verona. I think Amin Harit is definitely in line to be able to get that type of play, and his scores next season. Again, I know he's not U23, so he's a wee bit under the radar, around, let's call it 150 quid or so for the rare. £30 for the limited is super cheap, I think. He dribbles, he takes people on one-on-one. He's not a defensive player as such, and if he's in a counter-attacking Igor Tudor front three, I think his scores as a midfield card in particular could be very exciting. Now this one's a little bit more left field, okay, so stick with me for this one. Stefano Sensi is transferred to Monza. Monza are the big money club that have just come out of Serie B and they're now in Serie A and they're here to take over. They had Balotelli a few years ago, it didn't really work out too great I suppose, and you know, anyway, they have acquired Sensi. Now Sensi came on and did fantastically. I think it was I want to say it was Sassuolo, it might have been somebody like Torino or something. Fantastic player, huge fan of this guy. Went to Inter Milan, got some injuries, didn't really work out for him, and you can see the kind of tail end of his life here before he went to Inter and everything went haywire. But this guy is the main man of this lower end Serie A team, can be hugely productive. I wonder if we can actually see, no, these are actually for Inter. This is when he first transferred, you know. He's got huge potential in him. I think he's a wee bit overpriced where he's at now, about £200 or so. But I think, you know, limited to 37 is brilliant because this guy should be on all the set pieces. He should be the dead ball guy, and he should be the main Serie A, like main guy to help that team establish themselves in the division. And as much as I don't expect him to do great, a guy like this, if they concede less than 3 goals, he has the potential to have the AA game to mitigate that anyway and still rock in with global all-star credible performances. And if Monza have a good game at home, or they don't concede 3 goals, they only conceded 1, or they beat somebody 3-0 and he's got 2 to whatever, he's very capable of getting 80s. It's feasible, it is feasible. He could get 5 80s in the next year, 5 70 pluses if he even wanted to be a bit more conservative. And I think when you take a serious look at Serie A for this season, like excluding the top end teams, right, but the likes of Lecce, Spezia, Cremonese, Monza themselves, of course, Salernitana, I can't believe they survived really in the end. Verona and Empoli feel like weak links as well, you know. So there's like 6 or 7 teams there, and like a team like Monza can play at home, and maybe a couple of the away games are favourable as well. So that's about 10 to 12 matches where they could have a puncher's chance. And then equally, even some of these kind of mid-road teams like Udinese, Bologna, Verona, they're not to be feared. And then the top teams, like sometimes a team like Monza, we've seen it over the last couple of years in Serie A in particular, you know, but it happens in world football. You play Inter Milan on a Saturday and they've played, you know, PSG in the Champions League on the Tuesday, and they're rotating 3 pieces and you catch them hot, or you catch them cold, you're playing hot. It's there to be had. And for my striker, Maxi Gomez, the hero that was in Valencia when we went and did the Mestalla visit, if you like. He is confirmed to be staying at Valencia now. He has said Gattuso has won him over. He's going to stay at Valencia and be the main man because he wants to go to the World Cup. He wants minutes, and Gattuso said, I will get you those minutes, Maxi. Sit down, get comfortable, and let's get going. And if this guy is going to play all the time, he is a La Liga caliber target man. His scores are not here from last season, but it's fraught with in and out and sub appearances and injuries and everything in between. Where was the game that I seen? It was at home to Granada, I want to say. Yeah, this game. Lovely match. He scored at 82 and he was just a good target man. He didn't play spectacular or anything, but anyway, if he was to play like, if he was to get the opportunity to have matches like that and have spells in the team like that, and then towards the end of the season here, a couple of goals, then I think for a champion Euro forward especially, who is 25, who's got plenty of years left to run in him, 180 quid, again, I think for Maxi Gomez. And again, with Maxi Gomez and Sensei, with them not being in Europe, they're really weekend reliable. And sometimes these players who you think, oh, he's the target man in the team at the playmaker, if it's a team in a high stress situation that has lots of fixtures and lots of objectives, sometimes the unforeseen can happen. Whereas one thing I enjoyed about Valencia last year, being a Sorare card holder and having Maxi Gomez for about 2 minutes and maybe 1 or 2 others, Musa and whatever, is not having the midweeks makes the weekends much easier. You just need to keep up to date with injuries. You know, you don't need to worry about, oh, who got 90 minutes and who came off the bench and this happened and that happened. And there's something to be said for that. And strikers like this guy who wants to get ready for the World Cup, he'll be training between the weeks. Every weekend he'll be playing a cup final. And when you compare the other European striker prices around the market, I don't think that's a bad price, to be honest with you. Now, will Gattuso be a success at Valencia? Will he score more than 10 goals? These things are yet to be seen. But I definitely think for the sort of price, the speculation that's on him, as well as the rest of this team is. So yeah, I think for the budget that's kind of set out, this team is very capable of pushing for, you know, thresholds and all-star rare. And, you know, with the right amount of success and then, you know, kind of growing of maybe some other options through, you know, some rewards that are maybe won or some trades that are actually sanctioned or whatever. There's good flexibility here, and it could become like a worthwhile, depending on what happens with some of these game iterations and whatever that are coming out, specialist, underdog kind of lineup, or equally even a champ euro rare, because as these variety of competitions increases on us, then some of these, like, let's say core competitions, they're definitely going to have the headcount go down on them. And maybe a team like this, where they're all playing, they're at home, they've got decent enough fixtures, that team could bring in maybe 380 points or something with the right goalkeeper, and, you know, that might be enough for a decent tier 2, tier 1 champ euro card perhaps, you know, or a specialist or underdog or whatever. Let me know, guys. The total budget for that team is 0.65 Ethereum. They all kind of average in between 0.15 and 0.2 each, you know, kind of roughly is a guide price. Who would you sub out of my team? And, you know, you can sub one in. Who would that be? Let me know in the comment section down below. Have a great game week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.